Okay. Yeah, it's 7:02 almost. I think we can start. Right. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out time and attending this session. My name is Vivek. So what we're going to do now is very quickly, I will give you a short introduction about myself, the speaker, and both our companies, that is I2E Consulting and our partner Planisware. And then I'll hand it over to Walid and we'll start the session. So Walid, if you can please change the slide. Okay, great. So I'll start with myself. My name is Vivek Kadam. I've been with I2E Consulting for more than 6 years now. Now, I started off my career years ago in customer support, and then I moved to project management. And over the years, now I'm into sales. So I look after the sales at I2E Consulting, and I also act as an account manager for a few of our clients. And I also take care of the partnerships that we have with tech giants like Microsoft, AWS, Automation Anywhere, and Planisware, of course. On the panel, we have with us today our speaker, Mr. Walid Latif. Walid is a Planisware implementation consultant at Planisware. He has more than 6 years of experience in project and portfolio management tools, including resource, schedule, and task management. Mr. Latif plays a very important role in the Planisware adoption journey of every customer that we work with, right from implementation to product training, and even in migrating client legacy data to Planisware. He's a certified project management professional and a Scrum Master. Moving ahead, could you please change the slide? Okay, so about our company, I2E Consulting, we are a software services providing company founded in the year 2008 in the US. We also have offices in India and we also have some presence in the UK. Now, our services, they majorly revolve around project and portfolio management. With PPM, not only do we have the experience in the PPM tools, we also help organizations in setting up their PPM practices. And we majorly work with pharmaceutical companies. As you can see, we work with some of the major and big names in the industry: Pfizer, Merck, Novartis. There are many customers in the list. Other services involve business intelligence and data analytics, cloud migration, and staff augmentation. We have a huge team of Planisware certified resources, and we are also partners with Microsoft. We are a gold partner of Microsoft, AWS, and Automation Anywhere. Now, this event is co-hosted by our partner Planisware. Now, to tell you a little bit more about Planisware, most of us already know that it is a PPM software. It has featured in the leaders quadrant of Gartner's magic quadrant of the PPM software multiple times. And to tell you more about Planisware and Planisware Orchestra, I would like to hand it over to Walid. He'll be continuing and giving us more information about Planisware, the company. He'll also be doing the demo. And then once the demo is done, we'll be opening this session up for Q&A. You can always post your comments and questions in the Q&A box. We'll be addressing them in the end. So thank you very much. And over to you, Walid.
Thanks, Vivek. Hi, everyone, and welcome in this webinar about implementing portfolio management best practices with the consisting portfolio project and resource management practices. So as Vivek introduced me, I'm a pre-sales specialist at Planisware, and I will be sharing with you some concerns and solutions in relation with life science industry. I will also present you our tool, Planisware Orchestra, which is actually a real asset for life science project success. Planisware is actually a global provider of program, product, and project portfolio management. So it's a PPM software for new product development, engineering, and IT organizations. Unlike most vendors in this space, project portfolio management software is our one and only focus, and we pride ourselves in delivering best-of-breed solutions. With more than 500 clients worldwide and over 22 years of PPM experience, we are recognized as a market leader by reference analysts. So let's now talk about your key concerns that you are facing actually as life scientists. So as a CRO or a pharma, you are dealing with complex and long projects, but also regulatory constraints and key milestones that need to be tracked. You must do some clinical study outsourcing, schedule and track the activities, manage internal and external resources, but also capitalize on last experiences with the best practices. In addition to all of that, you still have to keep an eye on project value and optimize your time to market. And of course, reporting here is key for your project success. So here I just actually summarized some of your daily challenges in relation with life science projects. All right, let's move on actually to the Planisware Orchestra tool. So actually to wrap up, I would say that all the different challenges that I presented and the concerns that I shared with you can be managed using a PPM tool, and hopefully you will also be able to leverage all your past experience and lessons learned into the tool. In that order, our solution Planisware Orchestra can help you managing life science projects. Moving forward to the presentation of our tool. So Planisware Orchestra is, as I said, a full PPM solution. That means that it's managing all and the whole project lifecycle. So it starts with the ideation phase, which is a pre-project phase, actually, collecting, scoring, and sorting your ideas or demands that may lead into projects. We have the ability to select the best idea aligned to your organization. And once you have identified and you initiate your project, not from an execution actually standpoint, but I mean building a first estimate of cost and load and schedule needs also. Here at work intake phase, you will be able to create a business case for of your project actually with a business value score, but also financial indicators, as for example, net present value or IRR or the expected benefits and so on. Then at a portfolio level, you will be able to compare the different project candidates and prioritize them. Once you have your strategic priorities set up, you can then simulate execution scenarios by simulating the impact on resource capacity and cost plan. You will be able to answer questions such as, do I have enough resources to start that project? If not, what resource type do I need? And what is the most appropriate time to start the project without over allocating my resources? So actually, we will go through all those questions and through some actually phases of the project lifecycle that I'm showing within the demo. So once you start the execution of your project, Planisware Orchestra provides you different project management methodologies as, for example, waterfall, agile, or both as a hybrid. Also, it supports governance management with staging gate capabilities, scheduling, work items, tracking using boards, Kanban boards, risk issues and change request logs, and so on. But also effective reporting, and of course, all that in order to deliver your project according to your plans, keeping it on track and achieving targeted business value. Let's move actually to the live demo. And here I'm going to present you some users that you can easily identify in your organization. So let's start actually with Max. So Max is the first here user that we are going to cover with this demo. Max is a product line manager. So he is actually in charge of the whole portfolio activities. He's interested to see roadmaps, risk logs, schedules, and so on. So we will see from an operational portfolio management standpoint how he can actually steer and have an overall control on the different staging gates of the projects that are within his portfolio pipeline, but also from strategic planning, how he can actually align the different projects to the organization strategy, and how he can also simulate the impact of, for example, adding a new project, freezing a project, refusing also a project into his pipeline, and so on. Then we will move to Monica. Monica is a project manager. She is in charge of several life science projects, and she also has some resource needs. So here we will see from an execution standpoint how Monica can actually first estimate the different needs to her projects, as for example, schedule, resources, costs, and so on. About execution, so we will see how she can actually on a daily basis execute on the staging gate standpoint, on the schedules, also how she can set a clear work plan and how she can also monitor and control it. And then we will see from a work management how she can actually track the work in progress of the different resources that she has within her projects. Finally, we will move to Christine. Christine is a resource manager. So it's actually, basically, it can be a team leader, it can be a department manager, and so on. So Christine manages a team, and she's in charge of resource assignments. Here we will see how she can actually have a clear load plan by team department, but also how she can easily identify any contingency on the load plan and how she can actually take actions, how she can, for example, allocate resources, edit the allocation, swap the different resources, and how the tool actually can help her on those tasks. So let's move actually here to the application. Okay, let me go full screen here. So Planisware Orchestra is a web-based application. If you have actually an URL, address link, a login, and a password, you can access to the application from any web browser. So here we will start actually our demo with Max. She's our product line manager. And here, as all the different users in the application, once Max actually connects to the app, he has actually this view, which is the home page. And as you can see, it's composed of different actually portlets. Maybe let me zoom in a little bit more. Here we can see that we have a consolidated view, and it's a real updated view. That means that it's dynamic and it's instantly updated, where I can see, for example, the different investment portfolios. So I can see the consolidation by project, by forecast, cost, and load. I can see also different projects where I'm involved with different attributes as the names, the status, the percentage complete, and so on. Those are different portlets that can be added and removed from the home screen, depending on the user needs and the information that he would like to see, the consolidation and real life data showing. Of course, here we have different actually hyperlinks. So we have the ability to drill down into the different elements as, for example, projects, gate. The user interface is really simple on our tool. On the top right, we have everything in relation with the user, as for example, the preferences, but also the activity streamline, the notification center. We have here the search bar to dive into the application. And on the top left, we have two simple buttons. We have the Planisware Orchestra logo to get back to the home page. And then here we have the main menu where we can access all the different items. So let's actually here first start with focusing on a specific portfolio, like for example, this one, the business master plan. So here I'm going to zoom on this business master plan. This is the highest level of the portfolio, which is composed of different, actually, as you can see, strategic objectives, as for example, business operation, IT offering improvement, research roadmap. And here I can see on this dashboard different widgets, as for example, an overall roadmap with an overall status and trend. This is for the forecast. I have also a consolidation from all those different levels and projects that are composing those levels of the budget overrun, the resource overload, and so on. I can see also some indicators here of those three levels. And I can see, for example, that here I have a rate status and I have also a trend that is actually pretty bad as a forecast about the budget overrun of this project. So I'm here going to focus on the business operation. As I said, that we have the drill down function where I can directly click on the different items and directly access them. Here I'm accessing the business operation level. I can see that also on the navigation bar on the left. So I can see the aggregation of my business master plan into 3 different levels. And then I can see also the aggregation of my business operation as a strategic objective into 2 different product lines, the bioprocessing equipment and the bioproducts product line. Here I have an overall consolidation about the portfolio status. So it's saying bioprocessing equipment product line is having an expected budget overrun due to shipment delays and overall market price increase. This is also something that is actually confirmed on this consolidator table, where I can see that my bioprocessing equipment portfolio is having this red state and red trend, which is probably why the overall business operation is going a little bit bad. I can see also that there is a budget overrun here that is really very important, and that's probably why I have this bad reporting. Below, I can see other widgets about the overall budget overrun, the cost consumption, the work overload, and the load consumption with the different graphs over years. The dashboards are actually editable, so we can add multiple widgets. Those widgets actually can either be created from attributes, so we can also add new attributes and use them in the creation of those widgets. So it can be a table, a graph, curve, and so on. But also we have a library of multiple widgets depending on the item that you would like to show on your dashboard. And let's say that it's pretty covering 95% of the needs of our customers as out of the box. We have also the ability to save those dashboards as templates, so we can at any time access them quickly. So depending if you are a cost controller, for example, or if you are a scheduler from let's say a portfolio level, you are more interested on that dashboard on the other one. So you have the ability to easily navigate through the different dashboards. Our dashboards are also printable, so we can export them. We can also individually export the graphs or the table in Excel mode. Let's now actually dig into another level, and here going through this bioprocessing equipment, which is having this serious budget overrun. So by clicking there, I'm going to access the bioprocessing equipment product line, and I can see here on this dashboard different information, as for example, the projects by stages. So all those projects that you can see here are composing our bioprocessing equipment product line, and I can see the different phases. So pre-project engineering, tooling, testing, post-project phase, and so on. Here I can also see the status of those projects. So some of them are successfully reviewed. So we have some goes. We have also a project that is currently on hold, and I have also this project that is currently in review. Is going through the gate review. Below, I can see this roadmap where I can see the different phases, the key milestones and key events of my different projects. And below, I can see the global view, which is actually a project summary where I can see all the different projects and kind of like a health chart with the different statuses, trends, expected versus actual percentage complete, but also some summary, some live data that is coming up from the different project managers. So here I have a clear view on my bioprocessing equipment product line. So let's go through all those different modules here. We can see that Max has also access to the list of project, of course, that is composing his actually bioprocessing equipment product line. So he can see the different project names, project managers that are assigned to them, the current stage, but also the whole staging gate, and where does the different projects stand. But also he has other attributes that can be added, and this can also be used for the weekly, for example, project review. Another view that is very interesting is the overall Gantt. So here on the top, we have, of course, this timeline with the different projects where I can see the different phases and key milestones. And if I hide it, I can see the Gantt, and I can actually expand all the activities. In that way, I can see actually where are my projects currently, what are the current tasks that are ongoing. I can see more details about, for example, the target end date, the percentage complete, and so on. Going actually through the dashboard, but maybe before the dashboard, just going to present you the flash reports here. So this is kind of what Max also uses on a daily basis, the flash reports here capability on our tool. It actually allows him to have a consolidation of all the last reports that were issued from the different project managers. So here we can see that each line is a project. It's a different project. And we can see here the last reports that were generated. And here he has an overall consolidation with some indicators and some insights coming from the different project managers. He has also the ability to directly click on those flash reports and he can get more access and he can get more details about actually, for example, the tasks, the schedule, the cost, the load, and resource. So he has this ability from a top-down perspective to directly target a specific reporting about a project and get the right information that he's looking for. So going back to our dashboard at the bioprocessing equipment product line here, so Max can clearly identify that there is currently a project that is in review. So he can actually dig into that. And this is, of course, the dashboard is for views and analytics purposes. And from a stage and gate management perspective, Max can actually see that currently we are going through the tooling review. So this is the information that he sees. He can also see that there are some gatekeepers that are assigned to this review. He can click actually on the review and get the last update about it. So he can see that there are 4 different gatekeepers. Max is also one of them, so he already actually agreed about some reports, and he can see that there are still 2 other gatekeepers. So, for example, Gary, he's currently pending the review, and he requested actually some clarification about value propositions, still waiting for a specific review with the project manager in order to finalize the report. So here, actually, Max can get the information that Gary is still waiting for from the project manager of some deliverables to be able actually to finalize his report. So he didn't give yet his go. Christine is our resource manager, and we can see that she's still working on ensuring resource availability for the next project phases. So it looks like over the 3 different gatekeepers, we still have 2 that we are pending their review. And as we said, Max, he already did his review. This is what I'm going to do now, and he's giving a go. And then he can save it, and you will see that automatically we will get the last review that was made by the gatekeeper. The stage and gate actually methodology is actually going to split our project timeline by stages and gates. As you can see here, we have different phases. For example, pre-project phase, then we have the review of that phase or the gate. And those stage and gates are defined and completely customizable. Of course, this can be adapted to your organization. For each of them, we can find 1 or many gatekeepers. So you can define, for example, for each review, 1 or many gatekeepers who are going to ensure that we have actually the same delivery quality across the whole organization. The purpose here is to define a checklist of deliverables, just like the one that I'm showing now for the tooling phase. We can see that below we have a related deliverables checklist. And the purpose of this is really to make sure not forgetting any important deliverable during this phase, but also ensuring the same actually standard of quality that is actually respected across the whole organization. We can, of course, see those deliverables, so we can click on them. We can see who is the deliverable manager, its status, the planned end date, and the actual end date where it was delivered. We can see some attachment, but also we can see some comments that can be added into the discussion. So those deliverables are going to be actually submitted during the phase actually running. And then once we move to the review, we are going to review the last versions of them, and we will see how our gatekeepers will approve or not. Based on those, then the project manager will pronounce the overall go of the gate, or he can put it on hold if there is, for example, a missing deliverable, or if we have any difficulty. And then we can also put a no-go, for example, if we have a major issue. So going through this, what Max is going to do is that he's going to here start a new conversation, and he's going to ask the project manager, who is Monica, if she can actually check with Gary about the missing deliverable. Because actually here we really need to pass the gate ASAP, and we need to move to the next phase. And then he can share this comment, and you will see that also this comment is going to be actually added into the conversation panel, or what we call also the project wall. So it's kind of like if you are on social media, like for example, LinkedIn, where you can actually share different elements, like for example, events also, for example, a gate is approved or is in review, or for example, if you create a new report and so on, you can create all those different events with the stakeholders. So those can be team members, it can be also your suppliers and so on. Any person who has any interest about this comment can also be added into the list, and he will receive a notification, but also an email with this new comment that was added. We will see a little bit later how Monica can answer about this comment. So the purpose here is really to make your teams communicate. This is really key for project success. And in order to do that, we created this actually wall where all the different stakeholders can communicate, they can interact, and we have also some triggers who can actually add new conversations and actually simulate those. All right, so going forward actually with Max. So here as a product line manager, I'm also interested in reviewing some NPD business cases, etc. So for this project, which is actually a new product development, I'm interested also in checking the business case. So this is what I'm going to do now. So the business case is actually an overall view of your project from some indicators, either financial or non-financial, but the aim of this is really to help you to better assess your project and see if it has really a business value or not. So the way that our business case here is composed is that we have three different tables. The first one is the requested cost, where we can have the cost and the high-level cost estimation. It's grouped by cost item. So we have labor cost, machine time, maintenance, software study, and so on. We can add other cost items, and it's splitted over years. So for each year, the project manager is going to get and to set his high-level estimation, and he will submit it into this table. It would be also the same thing for the requested load, but here it would be by resource type. So for example, the resource manager is going to say, for 2022, I need 100 man days of engineers, 50 man days or machine days for the machinery, 30 for the specialized engineers, and so on. And this will actually help you in calculation of the labor cost that is needed and requested for this project, and then it will be consolidated here on those financial and non-financial indicators. Also, other financial indicators can be expected revenues. So here you can define different revenue types from your sales of your products with the unit price multiplied by a volume, and it can also be reflected by years. And it will enable you to calculate those expected revenues that also are going to be consolidated on the top here. The revenues plus the requested cost will enable you to calculate some cash flow, but also some net present value of your project. So you will have a clear idea about the value of your project over the years, and also some indicators as the return on investment that can help you to assess your projects. We have also non-financial indicators as what we call the strategic alignment score here. So we can see that I have this score, and I can see that we have a specific module about strategic alignment, which will help you to calculate those non-financial indicators. So the way that it works is that, and of course, this is the project manager task, to set the different criteria, the different analysis criteria. So we have economy, organization, risk, strategy, and our project manager is going to answer those different analysis criteria. So he will set different questions, and multiple answers can be chosen. And depending on the weight, we will have an individual score that is going to be calculated for each category. And then we will get an overall score out of 4, for example, here. And it will actually help you in the project assessment regarding non-financial indicators. And then we will get the overall consolidation at the business case level. So we will see that those indicators will help actually Max, our product line manager, to better choose and prioritize different projects. So this is what we are going to do now. So back to our bioprocessing equipment product line. And here at this level, let's say that once a month or maybe once a quarter, Max does this exercise, is going to go through the review and through the simulation within his program. So here within the program, we can see that we have several projects currently that are, some of them approved, some of them has the business case are submitted, some of them we are pending the business case, they are still actually, the project manager is still working on those, etc. And we can see also for each line, of course, which is a project, we can see some indicators about the score, the return on investment, the cost, the revenue, and so on. This is what's actually going to be reflected from the business case of in each project that I showed you. So this information is consolidated here. It's coming from different project managers. And the purpose of this review is really to first prioritize the different projects based on those indicators, but also on others that can be added. And to do that, this bubble chart is really helpful. It will actually allows Max to compare objectively the different projects that could be very similar, for example, on a specific axis. So if we check this project, for example, the RIC1 antibodies equipment and the RIS2, which is another antibodies equipment, we can see that they are very similar on this axis, which is our vertical axis, the expected revenues, but they are very different on the horizontal one, which is the requested cost. So with the bubble chart, Max can compare the different projects using different analysis criteria. It's exactly 3 of them. So he can choose one on the horizontal, one on the vertical, but also the bubble of the size is also reflecting the strategic line and score. So for example, we can see that this project in blue is more important from a non-financial perspective than the other projects. And here, of course, we can choose our different criteria, and we can actually play with this, and it will be, of course, dynamic, and it will help you to better assess the different projects, compare them, but also you will be able to take decisions as, for example, prioritize those projects. So for example, I would say that this project is critical and this other project is only a high priority, but it's not critical. So I better actually prioritize this project among and over the other one. This is the first step within your review, the bubble chart for project prioritization. Then we have a second view, which is the financial plan. So after prioritization of the different projects, it's good to have also a view about the different cost needs. So each line that you can see here is actually a project, those that I'm showing now in blue. And we can see that across the different years, we can see that there is a budgeted amount here for each project. And if I open this project, I can see the breakdown by cost item. So I can see the amount of money that is needed for each cost item. Here, Max, as a portfolio manager, he has the ability to approve or not those amounts that are requested. He can also use, for example, the forecast column to be added here, and it will help him actually to better answer those needs that were budgeted by the project manager for each year. So, of course, this answer is made, but it's going to be depending on the bucket that was allowed and allocated to his program. So depending on the bucket that he has as allocated for 2021, he will be able to split that money over the different projects and over the different cost items. And this view is really important also in preparing the next and the provisional financial plan. So for example, for 2022, we can already know how much money is budgeted, how much money is forecasted depending on the project that are already currently running, and we can already prepare for the year that is coming. The third view is about capacity planning. So here on this view, we are going to see if we can actually start a project as requested. So the bubble chart helps you to better assess the different projects, to prioritize them, and so on. Financial plan is about, do we have the money actually to start those projects? And this view, capacity planning, is about, do we have the resource to start the project? Here, it's very simple. We can simulate the impact of adding each project on the overall capacity. So this is the current capacity. Those are the projects that are approved and currently running. And we can see that the capacity is green, a little bit blue here, but it's pretty green. We are below the capacity curve. Each line here is the request and the need of the project on the resource load. And we can see that then we have a consolidation, and we can see that we are below the the overall load and capacity of the organization. We are pretty 66%, so it's not over allocating. If, for example, I simulate the add of this new project that was submitted and that target start date is scheduled for January 2022, which also was critical. If you remember in the bubble chart, actually analysis, we decided that this project is critical. We can click on this project and it will automatically simulate the impact of adding this new project on the capacity of the organization. And we can see that things are going to be a little bit bad on January to March. So blue color means that we are going to approach this capacity. We are pretty close to the capacity limit. And red means that we are going to over allocate. As you can see here, we have a request of 370 days and we only have 329 man days available. So here we are not going to be able to successfully start this project. We will have some issues about resource allocations and resources won't be enough available. So we can either group by type and we can here identify what are the resource types that are needed to start this project safely. So we can see that engineers are missing for those projects. We can also see what are the projects that are the most consuming. So it would be, for example, this new project. We can see that we have a lot of engineers that are needed. So we can actually hire new engineers and directly actually implement them into this project. We can also take another decision, not actually hiring or increasing our capacity curve of engineers. We can decide just to start this project a little bit later without impacting actually our resource capacity. So let's start this project, for example, on March. Let's see here directly what is the impact. So we can see that it's not going to resolve the issue because probably the start and the first phase of our project is requesting a lot of engineering work. How about May? All right, looks like on May 22, we should be able to safely start this project and we would get enough engineers to start this project, enough engineers that would be available actually. So once actually we do those simulations, we can also save them as scenarios that can also be presented to our top management. We can also compare the different scenarios. And once a scenario is chosen, we can actually approve, and then that information is going to be actually shared with the different project managers. So let's go forward through our demonstration. We went through Max, who is our product line manager, and the different tasks that he's in charge of. Let's move now to Monica, our project manager. Monica is more about staging gate execution, operational work, and schedule management. So let's move to Monica here. I'm just going to log out and log in as Monica. Monica, as project manager, is going to access her application exactly as Max. She has access to the homepage, but here, as you can see, she has different portlets. As I said, those portlets are completely configurable, and depending on the user role, we can add different portlets. Here we can see that there is on the top right a notification, so we can click on it, and we can see that actually Max mentioned Monica on a task, and he added also this comment. So this is the comment that I shared a little bit earlier. So once Monica clicks on the comment, she's going directly into the item that was shared by Max. So here we can see that it's about the tooling review. We can see that Gary gave that review, and we can see that we are still missing her deliverable here, and we can see that it's currently flagged in red because it's overdue. Let's say that Max actually Monica finalized her report, this value proposition report, the missing deliverable, and that she actually attached the deliverable. Here we have two ways. We can either attach the report or the deliverable physically. That means that it will be stored within the application, or we can also add a link. So it can be a link to a shared drive or shared space. Actually, an environment where we have, for example, a deliverable that is shared between different collaborators. Once this is done, now Monica can check this deliverable, and then she can also actually answer the comment of Max and say that just did it, we should be all set. She can also mention Gary, who will be actually notified of this comment. So then Gary can get back to the application and he can now update his review. And then based on the different reviews, the project manager will be able to take his decision, either pronounce an overall go, a no-go, or a put on hold. So let's say that everything is fine here, and Monica actually decided to approve this overall gate. So she has the ability to pronounce a go. She can also add a comment or a message that can be then shared on the wall between all the different stakeholders. So here, if we click on go and post, we will be able first to pronounce the go. So the gate is now no more blue, it's now green. That means that we successfully updated this review and we are good to go. And now the next phase is now blue. That means that it's going to be reviewed and it's currently in progress. About the wall, we can see here that the moments ago, there is a comment that was added into the wall with great job, the gate is approved. And this is of course shared between all the different stakeholders and team members. All right, so back into our project here, as we are at the project level and as a project manager, here I'm going to take you through all the different modules. So here first on this project, we can see this dashboard. It's composed actually of different widgets, just as for the product line or for the portfolio, we can see that those elements, of course, that can be added by the users. We can see, for example, some indicators about the cost, the load, clear roadmap, risk register, and so on. We went through the staging gate for project governance. We have also this module about the schedule, where we can see clearly the current schedule. We can see where we stand at. We can see the different tasks, milestones composing our actually stages and gates. And we can see the percentage complete, the allocated resources, and so on. Here we can also display the timeline of the project. And we have also the ability here to compare with the baseline. So we can actually see clearly how things are going regarding the initial plan. We can see if we have any delays, how it's going to be impacting, for example, our shipment to the customer. For example, in 1.5 years, we can prevent all those delays from now, and we can see how things are deviating. In addition to that, we have work management responsibilities. So we have here this Kanban board where I can see the different activities of my different resources. I can see how things are currently running, and I can group by, for example, by assignee. So I can see the different resources, what they are currently doing, etc., etc. I can also assign tasks that are not yet assigned. So I can see that, and I can also split between the different resources. So I have the ability to drag and drop between the different resources. Going actually forward here, I'm going to move into the logs. So we have the ability also to register some logs as, for example, risks, issues, change requests, and so on. So here I have a risk register, and I can see that I have also some action plans that are assigned to them. So for example, here the implementation lack of material, I can access it. I can see who is owning those risks, and I can see also the action plan that is currently engaged to mitigate this risk. Here I'm going to quickly kind of like summarize what we went through from the staging gate to the schedule to the logs and so on with the reporting. So here we have the ability to quickly generate a report, as for example a flash report, as its name says, actually flash, because it's instant and it's very quick and automatic. We can see here different indicators about schedule, cost, performance index, load, and so on. Here, the only insight from the project manager is about the current state, but also the trend that can be edited, and also some reporting insights about the highlights, the issues, what are the next steps, and so on. And all those elements can be added. It can be actually a project review minutes, and so on. We have actually also some other items about the tasks, the schedule, the cost, the load, etc. So all those can be added by the project manager, and then he can create it, or also he can create it and post it. Once it's created and posted, it will be once again added into the wall, and now the different stakeholders can access this flash report, and they can have a clear actually understanding of the last report that was generated just after our project review. The tool also stores and actually archives all the different flash reports that were generated. This is very helpful. For example, if you have any turnover or if you are onboarding a new resource, it will help him actually to get an overall view of the project history. And also it will help, for example, from analysis perspective, to know what did we do wrong, how things actually started to deviate, what made us actually deviate on the schedule, or how were we able to get back on track on the schedule, and so on. This is very helpful actually for your lessons learned later. Let's now move to the last actually user, our resource manager, Christine, who is actually a team leader. She's actually managing a team and she's in charge of resource assignments actually. So let's now log in with Christine credentials. Once Christine accesses the tool, she has actually directly a view on her dashboard, her product and innovation team. She's in charge of that department, and she can see here a consolidation of the different resources that she is managing. She can see a breakdown actually by month on the needs, the allocations, the availabilities, and so on. She can see all the different alerts and KPIs directly on her dashboard. She has also this view, which is grouped by resources. So she can see the different resources, and she can see actually here the different allocations. The target here is really not to over allocate the resources and to keep them below this capacity curve. So here, Christine is actually in charge of making sure that all the different resources would be available for the projects. So if we move here into the load plan, we can see this load plan actually, which is displaying by resource type, consultant engineers, machinery, specialized engineers, and so on, the amount of requested versus allocated time. And as I said, in addition to only keeping an eye on this, she can also do some simulation. So for example, she can choose to add a new project and see its impact on her team. So she can see that, for example, here, she will be critically approaching this capacity curve, but she will not actually be over the capacity. For example, if she decides to select all the different draft projects that are probably going to be executed or not, depending on the portfolio manager decision, she can see that it will impact her team starting January 22. So if top management decides to make all those projects, she will probably need to increase her capacity curve, and she will need some resources to better be prepared for those projects that are coming for the new year. This is the different simulation that can be done at this level. In addition to that, from an operational standpoint, Christine is really interested to keep her resources under the capacity curve. And this load plan really helped her on a daily basis, because here she can see, for example, on this displayed period, of course, this is dynamic, it can be adapted, so we can change the displayed period, we can change the time frame, we can even change the scale from day to week to month to quarter, and so on. And this load plan shows the different reports, the different resources that are within Christine team, and she can see, for example, if there is any over allocation. For example, here she can clearly identify that Ralph, which is -6% of availability, is struggling and he's having some issues, as you can see, with the different allocations. She can click on him and see the different, the breakdown actually of the projects where he's allocated, and she can see the different details of the allocations. He or she can take decisions. For example, she can either edit the allocation, she can cut it, that means that she can separate the different amounts and make, for example, 2 or 3 different resources working on this task, or she can also swap Ralph with another resource from the same type on this specific task. So here she can look by the resource name, by her unit, by the resource type, but also by the skills. So she can look for another resource of the same skill. Here we can see that the tool proposes, for example, Liu, who is also an engineer, just as Ralph, and who would be more available to take that task. So Christine can click on Liu and she can update, and automatically the task is going to be swapped from Ralph to Liu. So now Liu is going to be more allocated, Ralph a little bit less, but at least he's still over allocated for this period, but not as the amount of over allocation that he had. Those are the different actions that can be taken by the resource and department manager. So I'm now going to move on to the other part of the demonstration, which is about reporting. So I already displayed you and showed you the flash reports, which is an instant and a quick report that can be generated by the project managers and shared with the portfolio managers, where they can actually get a quick view on all the different flash reports issued by the different projects. So they don't need really to check with them and answer and send an email and wait for the reporting and so on. With 2 clicks, they can generate this overall reporting of the flash reports. We have another more advanced actually way for reporting, actually using the BI reporting, which is actually a more advanced way of reporting. So here we are going to integrate with global tools. So Planisware Orchestra already has API features where we can interact with ERP tools, as for example SAP, communication tools as for example Outlooks, calendars, and so on, IT tools as Jira and so on. And the most important thing here is about the BI reporting. So yes,
Walid, sorry to interrupt, but we have a lot of questions coming in, and a lot of them are related to the integration between Planisware and other tools as well. So
yeah.
are we going back to the demo again, or can we just
No,
after this slide we can
we
go to the Q&A?
Yeah, we can go. Actually, I was going to summarize the whole thing with the BI reporting, but it's perfect if you have questions. We can move to the questions if you like.
Okay, no, you go ahead. If you have anything else after this, then please go ahead. If not, then there are already a lot of questions popping in, and I'm sure people must have other meetings to attend to. So without,
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So let's move to the questions.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll quickly get started with the questions. The first question that we have is this application available on mobile platform?
Yes, we have a mobile app that is actually downloadable. We can download it and we can access the different dashboards. We can get real live data updated. We can get also the notifications and so on.
Okay, the next question that we have is, okay, where can we customize strategic alignment matrix? Oh, whether we can customize strategic alignment matrix?
Yes, so we can create our own metrics. So it's not only about, for example, net present value, percentage complete, and so on. We can create our own KPIs about, for example, the target of sales, or for example, payment delays, or any other KPI that you need can be created within the environment. And then you can actually choose the way that you would like to have like a frequency or cadence of sampling about those KPIs. You can track them, so you can have the whole history, and you can, of course, consolidate all that at the portfolio level.
Great. So will the recording be made available? Yes, the recording of this webinar will be shared with all the attendees. It will also be present on our website. So yeah, let's moving on. How is the formula for calculating forecast? PM formula or finance, like bracket linear or multi-tier, multi-regression, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so here we calculate the forecast based on the actual plus the remaining. So both actual and remaining are going to be data that is going to be consolidated at the application level. Actual can be coming, for example, from any SAP tool, but also it can be from the timesheets that the resources have to or might, so it's optional, of course, might fill in. So this is the time spent that would be converted into money. It can be also actual coming from SAP tools, for example, as invoices or payments that were already done. Remaining is also an amount field actually that is also filled at the timesheet, and it can also be updated from SAP tools. And actual plus remaining is going to help you to calculate your forecast.
Great. Another question that we have is any change control mechanism to change project milestone and timeline?
Yes, so we have the change request actually feature and the ability to assign different change request approvers. So you can completely imagine a committee for change requests who is going to go through the different change requests coming from across all the different projects within the application. And we can see that we have multiple information that needs to be filled in on your change request form, plus the impact of those. So depending on the change request type, we have different impacts that can be defined. For example, it can be a delay on the schedule, it can be an overcost, and so on. And then depending on the review, so either an approve or not, we can implement this change request at the project level.
Great. Since there are multiple roles in this particular tool, the next question is the business case option available for all the orchestra users?
So it depends. For example, as a resource, it's not really relevant to have access to the business case, because as a resource, as an engineer, for example, I'm only interested in the tasks. And this is not actually part of our demo today, but we have another type of user, which is the resource, who is the resource. And the resource is more interested in the tasks that he needs to perform, on the reporting, the time spent on those tasks, etc. So the business case is not really relevant to those type of users. The other, all the ones that I presented here as Max, Monica, and Christine, also from a resource perspective, needs to have access to this business case.
Great.
And maybe answering this question on a high level, actually either for the business case or for the other modules as the Gantt, the resource manager, the reporting, and so on, those modules has local rights. So you can define who and which role or profile or user, if you would like to go into details, has the right to read or write. So either have a view access or a write access on those modules. So it's up to you to define who should need to see this business case.
Great. Another question is, how secured will be our data if we decide to go with Planisware Orchestra?
So actually here we have multiple certifications about security, either the ISO 27701 or the SOC 2 certifications. And of course, we are working with more than 500 clients with a lot of sensitive data and confidential data. So I'm not going into details, but maybe we can schedule a specific call about the way that we securize the data of our clients.
Okay, great. Another question we have is, can we automate the workflows for project managers to approve their stages and gates? Do we get notifications on email?
Yes. So for both questions, the automation can be actually defined. So depending on the way and the workflow that you would like to set. And about notifications, automatically you can, you can either define if automatically when there is a new alert, like a notification is sent, if you would like only to see it within the application or within the app plus the email. You can decide also of the cadence of emails. So some of the users would like to have an email each time that there is a new notification. Some of them would like only to have a consolidation once a week, etc. And the third option is to get it on the 3 different interfaces. That means within the tool, on the notification center, on your mailbox, and on the mobile app. So you'll get also a push notification on your mobile app.
Great. Can this be integrated with HRMS and Power BI?
Yes, completely. And that's actually the last slide that I was showing. We have the ability to interface with different tools as Power BI also. This is the advanced reporting that we can get, and where we can actually have reporting about all the different data. So we can analyze business data, including project portfolios, cost data, and so on. And the reporting database is pushed from Planisware Orchestra to cloud areas, like for example, Azure or AWS, and they can be used to feed your BI tools.
Great. What do we have? Do you provide /support life science specific template, example manufacturing, quality, and R&D?
Maybe this is more a question for you. I think as a consultancy, you can
Yes.
probably
So
provide
like I
some best
said,
practice.
we've been working with the pharma domain, and we are also exclusive Planisware partner for the implementation of orchestra in Indian region. So yes, to answer your question, we do have the template options for pharma customers and manufacturing customers.
From our side, what we can say is that we have plenty and a lot of pharma customers worldwide. So we have also some expertise about this.
Okay. What are the prerequisites for any team to use this application?
So actually, we provide some training. Our tool is kind of user interface very simple. From users that didn't use any PPM tool, it's quite easy to adapt. It's not very difficult because it's pretty clear about the different scope and interactions and actions that needs to be done by the users. Let's say the most important training would be the administration, where you need to specify, for example, the project types, the staging gates, and so on, like the architecture of the tool. It's a training that usually lasts 1 or 2 days. This is like the heaviest training. So for the users, it's quite easy to adapt the tool.
Yes, and there are no hardcore prerequisites as such. It's a very simple process. You just have to let us in, allow us to become your vendor, and you'll be up and running in less than 2 months. All right, moving ahead. Okay, is this a good option for ITIL based industry? So yes, like I said, we've been serving a lot of industries, right from manufacturing to aerospace to chemical to IT. There are many industries. So yes. Okay. Can we partner with external vendor or non-user in organization? Okay, so I'm not very clear about this question, but partner with external vendor. External vendor as in you, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that you are using orchestra in the organization and you want to add a user in orchestra who is not from your organization, someone from outside your organization? Is that what you're trying to say here? The name is Manish Biani. So Manish, you can send a message, or if you're still online, you can clarify on this question. Meanwhile, I'll move to the other one. Can we see the complete overview of several or all projects with respect to various aspects such as cost, resources, time, etc.? Also, can we drill down from the dashboard itself?
Yes. So this is, if you remember the first part of the demo. So as a user, for example, it would be usually top management, CEOs or vice presidents, etc. They're not really aware about the operational constraints of the projects. This is not part of what they are looking for. So they are mainly interested in having some view capability using the dashboards, some analysis capability, and the most important thing is the drill down capacity. So we have that, and this is what I started with in the demo, where I started from a high level. I identified some issues. I clicked on those issues, and I had the ability to drill down into the element, into having the answer and seeing what's actually going wrong. Why do I have this budget overrun? What are the issue that my projects are going through? So yes, sure, we have the drill down capacity.
Great. So Manish asks, yes, outside as well as user / non-user, someone who does not have the Planisware license, maybe. Can someone?
Yeah. So
Okay.
someone who doesn't have the license, I mean, we provide, of course, free of charge read-only licenses. So if you have an auditor, you can access the application. You just need, of course, to create the user, and the
right.
administration. Yes, but only for view access.
Okay, I'm sure this application will be with license. So which type of licenses are available? Okay, so licenses basically are the type, you mean the type of users. So yeah, why don't you tell us more about the type of licenses or users, Walid?
Yeah, so we have different types here. I'm just going to move at this level. Okay, the different types, I'm just going to display them. So do you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can still see your screen.
Okay, so we have 4 different type of licenses. So the first one is auditor, that's a read-only access, and it's free of charge. Then we have the 3 others. First is collaborator. This is actually the resource by itself, which is going to fill in timesheets, create some initiatives, ideas, submit, for example, a change request, update the percentage complete, add something into the risk register, those kind of elements that a resource needs to have. Or for example, having access to the social collaborator features as commands, action plans, Kanban board, and so on. Then we have the contributor license. This is for all the right access. It's mainly for example, project managers, PMOs, those kind of roles. And then the final one is administrator, which has an access as a super user to all the capabilities of the tool, as administration, where you can actually define your the architecture of your application. And we have also access to the Orchestra Designer tool, which will help the administrators to create, for example, new attributes, create new modules, new forms, and so on. You have also the ability with Orchestra Designer to design and customize the tool. And this is something that can be done by your administrator.
Great. Another question here is this model applicable to CSOs, non-industrial organizations, CSOs, civil society organizations?
Yes, so actually we have customers from all the different industries, either from CSOs or we have also some public actually collectivity, can be also some governance agencies and so on. So it's not only in relation with industry, it can be also for CSOs or others.
All right, another question from the same user who asked about licenses. Perpetual, is it perpetual or server based or system based or user based?
So the user is actually a license that would be for a specific year and by license. So it's by user.
Okay, so it's a SaaS based per user per year licenses that we have. And these are the types of users.
Yes, so this is the first option about SaaS. We can provide SaaS licensing system, which actually the app is going to be hosted on our own, actually owned data centers. We have our own data centers, or it can be also some on-premise licensing that can be also, we have the second system. So we have both, either SaaS or on-premise.
Great. And another question, do you have concurrent license?
So what's the question exactly? You know, I'm not understanding well.
So it's about concurrent licenses. I guess one license that is used by multiple users.
Okay, got it. I think that the licenses has, yes, it has this way of working. Yes, so you can of course use the same license and have another user that would be assigned to that license.
Yeah, and can they
And
work
only one.
simultaneously? Because
No,
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 right? Okay.
no.
Okay, I think we are done with all the questions. We've already exceeded the time as well. Wow, felt like a rapid fire. Great. Anyone, if you have any further questions, we'll wait for another couple of minutes. Please go ahead and park your questions here in the Q&A box. We will be more than happy to answer them. Also, like I said, this particular session is recorded. It will be available on our website, that is i2econsulting.com. And we will also be sending you emails with the link of this recording. Great. We'll wait for another 1 minute and then we'll conclude. Yeah, if you have any further questions, please go ahead and type them. Okay, so there was this one question. It says, I am currently a user bracket admin and have questions regarding business master plan. So the user has given his email address valid and has requested us to contact him separately. So we'll do that, Nicholas.
Sure.
Thank you. I think he left. He had a meeting. All right. So, we'll take one last question here and then we'll wind it up. We have a question that says, can data will be stored on company server or the client server?
Yes. Yes, this is actually a client choice. Depends of if you would like it to be as in SaaS mode. Of course, we can store it either on our own data centers on the servers, or we can also choose to actually redirect that into the client service. Yes, this is both possibilities are actually we can do both.
All right. So, okay. Another question. Currently using Track as project management tool, will this model be a complement or has to be used as a new system?
So it depends. Actually, if you are already using a PPM tool, let's say Track or any other tool, talking about MSP, for example, so it's all about having the single source of truth. So you would like to consolidate your data, everything in relation with portfolio and project management would be within one tool. So having, like, for example, a system that would be, for example, managing your work plans, your schedules, and the other one, your cost information, and the other one, some interactive actually conversation between the different stakeholders, and another one about documentation, and another one about reporting. So the purpose here is really to consolidate everything within the same tool. So it depends. Most of our customers, for example, who are using any other tool, as for example MSP or others, they started having both, and once they felt comfortable to completely move on to one tool, they completely actually abandoned the previous one, and they are doing everything with Planisware Orchestra, as it's consolidating all the different knowledge areas that we have for project management.
Perfect. All right. Okay, this is the last question. Walid, do you have any other meeting after this? I'm sorry. We'll take the last question and then we'll wind it up. It says, can we do batch operations in this application?
Yes, so we can actually have multiple imports that can be added within the application. So it depends on the changes that you would like to do. For example, if you are having a change impacting many projects and you would like to import that, we have the ability to do batch changes.
And can the dashboards be transferred to PowerPoint?
Yes, completely. So we have not only the dashboards, but also the reports. Just for example, the flash report that I showed you can be generated into PowerPoint and PDF, both PowerPoint and PDF format.
Great. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for all the questions. We will not be taking any further questions. If you want to know more about Orchestra we can always have a separate call and have a separate demo for your organization. You can bring in more people from your team. I would like to thank you all for taking out time and attending this session. It was, you know, a very productive and a very interactive discussion, I would say. So once again, thank you so much for your time, and please don't forget to wear your mask, because this session may have come to an end, but COVID hasn't. So please take care of yourself, stay safe, and good night and good day, whoever is from other locations.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Vivek.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Walid. Bye, everyone.